Hi and welcome to my 2024 VICTOBER TBR. If you're new to VICTOBER, VICTOBER is a read-along that is hosted every October. This is the 4th time I'm joining, in which we read Victorian literature, so literature from England and Ireland in the period that Queen Victoria was queen. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Milena. I read all sorts of books, but I have a special love for classics and I also sell classics online. This is the first year that I also have a bookshop, so I'm going to do it a little bit differently, but at the core I'm going to read Victorian literature. VICTOBER is hosted by 4 amazing booktubers this year and I'm really excited to watch their content, and they've all made their own prompts. Every year there's also a group read in which I am going to join as well. This year it is The Doctor's Wife by Mary Elizabeth Braddon, which is an author I've not read from before. It is a play on Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert, which I've read and disliked, so I'm apprehensive, as are most of the hosts, I believe. This is a book that all the VICTOBER people who want to are going to join in reading together. But if you would like to read any of the books I'm going to mention now together with me, you can do so on the story graph. I have made a page of Milena's bookshop on the story graph and I'm going to put all my reading notes on there. I'm going to try to use the feature of book club and buddy reads, but I know those features are limited. If you would like to read any of these books with me, I would love that, and you can click the link in the description to the story graph. I know most people are already on there, but I have made a specific account for the bookshop which will be for VICTOBER. So if you want to have access to these books as well, I will have all of them in a certain edition on milenasbookshop.nl. I hope they will all be available when I'm uploading this, because a few of these books are quite specific, so I had to hunt them down. If you want the audiobooks, you can also get them on Libro FM, which I've also made a list on with all of these books, and I've tried to pick out the best audiobooks from all the titles. And if you get, I think, a subscription on Libro FM right now through Milena's bookshop, you get 2 audiobooks for free, so you can get 2 of these books for free in your free trial, I believe. So that is a really good deal. I will leave all the information down below, but let's get to the prompts. I had made a set TBR and then I remembered that I used an American author for one of the prompts, which doesn't work because you have to pick British and Irish novelist or authors. We're going to do this again. First prompt is from Kate Howe, and that is to read a book where religion plays a role, and as she said in her video, most Victorian novels have religion as a role in their books. So I am going to pick a book for the Thomas Hardy read-along that is going to be our autumn pick. I've read Thomas Hardy before, of course, because we're doing the Thomas Hardy read-along and religion always plays a role in his book, so I'm just assuming it will also play a role in this book. I don't know yet. But I'm just making a calculated assumption, and that is The Return of the Native. With the Thomas Hardy read-along, we're reading books by Thomas Hardy that maybe are not his most famous ones. We've read Jude the Obscure and The Woodlanders, and I thought VICTOBER would be a perfect moment to read our autumn pick. It tells the story of Eustacia Vi, Thomasin and Mistress Yeobride, which are quite a few names. I think it's about a band of misfits who try to make life work. It is set in Edgton Heath, whose lowering titanic presence dominates the men and women who live in it. It sounds like a typical Thomas Hardy where we follow someone untraditional, and the place where it's set is really important to the story. Let's see how much religion plays a part in this book. So that is for the first prompt. The second prompt is by Katie, and that is to read something that plays with form, which I think is a great but also challenging prompt to have for VICTOBER, so I picked one of Katie's recommendations. When she mentioned Elizabeth Gaskell and short stories, I was already in, because all the short stories I've read from Elizabeth Gaskell so far I have loved. The Grey Woman is one of Elizabeth Gaskell's gothic tales, which I've really been wanting to read. So I ordered these editions for the shop and it has the Grey Woman in it as well. So I will definitely read the Grey Woman, but I might also see if I can get to some more of her tales. But apparently the Grey Woman has a play on something. I don't remember. Let's see what Katie said about the Grey Woman.
Gaskell also uses frame narratives sometimes in her shorter works. The Grey Woman is a great gothic novella by her from 1865, which starts off with this conceit of these two people in an inn who stumble across this unusual story, and the rest of the novella is that story.
Very excited to get back to Elizabeth Gaskell because I've not yet had a Victober without Elizabeth Gaskell, and I'm not having one in the future or this year. Marissa's prompt was to read a book that is serialized, and I'm going to use the group read for this, which is The Doctor's Wife, which apparently was released as a series, which happens a lot of Victorian literature. I was considering picking Dickens for this, but then I would like to join with the group read, so I might as well use the group read for one of the prompts. And I'm getting the Oxford edition for this one because I hope there are some notes about the connection with Madame Bovary as well, and I feel like the Oxford edition, they may be a little bit more expensive than, for example, the Wordsworth ones, but they have really great notes. Rose's prompt was to read a Victorian play, and I've not been doing it very actively, but I've been reading Oscar Wilde, his plays in this edition for a few years now, and I just pick up a play whenever the occasion arises, and I do believe that I have one left, and that is An Ideal Husband. It's the only one I've left. Like, I put the dates of when I have read them in here, so I got a few editions of these as well for the bookshop, and I am going to read and listen to An Ideal Husband. I found an audiobook on Libro FM with a full cast audio with, I think, some actors that are also well known that are performing the play, and I love it. I have done that with most of them. I don't know if I've done it with all of them, but if it's available, I love it with Shakespeare as well. Read a full cast audio of people who are performing the play whilst you read it, which is, I think, an experience that is almost necessary for theater because it adds so much more as just you reading it. As people say, plays are to be seen and experienced and not necessarily to be read, and this gives a bit of both. I'm really excited to finally finish this edition out with An Ideal Husband. The last prompt is a prompt that honors booktubers we have lost this year, and that is to either read something by Arthur Conan Doyle or Wilkie Collins. I've never read anything by Wilkie Collins, so that is why I'm picking Wilkie Collins, because I have already 2 novels on my list and I've not been reading a lot volume wise this year, so I'm not gonna put a Wilkie Collins novel on my TBR, although I would love to read The Woman in White. I think I should keep it small. I looked at some of his short stories. October is also spooky season, so I'm going to pick The Haunted Hotel. I got these beautiful editions for the shop and one for me, of course. I don't know what The Haunted Hotel is about, and I kind of don't want to know. Because with Gothic tales, especially Victorian ones who are very trope heavy, I like a little bit of surprise that is still in there. But it's Wilkie Collins, and I would love to read Wilkie Collins because so many people love his works. I don't know if this is one of his better short stories. If you are a Wilkie Collins expert, leave me a comment down below which of his works you think I will really love. Woman in White is something that has been on my TBR for a while, and if I have an amazing reading month, maybe I will pick that up as well. Talking about possibilities, I do have 2 things that I would like to read or continue reading. So one book I've just been wanting to read because I loved the film as a child, and I didn't know when I was a child that it was a book as well. And that is Black Beauty by Anna Sewell, I think is how you pronounce her last name. I loved horses when I was growing up, and Black Beauty is still one of the most emotional films I've ever seen. I'm not gonna rewatch it because I think it will ruin my childhood memory, because I think there's a lot of silliness in that film. I don't know if it's very good if you rewatch it again. The emotional journey Black Beauty went through, it can make me cry in an instant again. It gripped me so tightly as a child. It was one of those moments where you realize that animals maybe mean as much to you as humans do. I remember a scene in the film where Black Beauty just had gone through it and he found his former owner again, and just how different he looked from before. It made me cry as a child because I loved horses, and seeing a horse go through that was, I think, the worst thing I could have possibly seen. So I don't know why I want to read this. I think I'm now talking about it. I want to throw this book far away because I don't want to relive that. But it's also maybe nice to have a good cry. Okay, and then a book that I've been reading since 2021, 2022. Yeah, it's not because I'm not enjoying it, but it's because I keep on making TBRs where I do not have time for the Brontes by Julia Parker. I did not know, but I have read a significant part of this already. I know quite a lot about the Brontes, but one part of their lives that I don't know a lot about is when Charlotte and Emily were in Brussels. And they are in Brussels right now. I stopped when they went there. So instead of just feeding myself the knowledge that I want, I stopped reading this book. So it's definitely going to be a Victober hopeful to, you know, I want to say read more, but I want to finish this baby. I want to be the Bronte expert I feel inside. I want to have the proof to say that I've read this book and that I now know everything there's to know about the Brontes, because I feel like if you've read this, you know everything. Then I will probably also reread the graphic novel of the Brontes, because that's one of my favorite graphic novels. So my set TBR so far is 2 novels, a play and 2 short stories, although I think The Haunted Hotel is a novella and not a short story. Probably listen to this on audio so that my tears won't get the book wet. I should finish this, I should. I'm planning to make at least 1 or 2 Victober vlogs, so if you want to see me succeed or fail with the Brontes, then do be sure to subscribe. And if you want to read any of these books with me, again, the link to the story graph is down below. It's all free to join that. I will try and make sure that you can also leave some notes on the book there, but I've never used the story graph or this function before, so it might be a little bit of trial and error. And again, all these editions will be available on milenasbookshop.nl and on Libro FM if you like the audiobooks. That is all for now. I'm very excited to be reading Victorian literature again. Thank you so much to the lovely host for making these prompts again for us and to hosting another year of Victober. I'm very excited to see what you're all going to be posting and creating. If you also have a Victober TBR, please let me know in a comment down below and I would love to watch it. For now, I hope that you have a lovely day or evening, and I hope to see you in another video. Doei!